In 2014, Flint, Michigan switched its water source to save money. Within months, children were being poisoned by lead. Over 100,000 people exposed to contaminated water. Skin rashes, hair loss, Legionnaire's disease killing 12 people. This happened in America, in the 21st century, with modern water treatment technology. Meanwhile, in Rome, aqueducts built 2,000 years ago still function. The Aqua Virgo, constructed in 19 BC, still supplies the Trevi Fountain with clean water today. No treatment plants, no chlorination, no filtration systems, just Roman engineering. For 2 millennia, Roman water systems delivered clean water to millions without causing epidemics. Modern cities, with billion-dollar infrastructure and advanced chemistry, regularly fail. Flint, Jackson, Mississippi. Thousands of boil water advisories issued yearly across America. Cryptosporidium outbreaks, E. coli contamination, lead poisoning. How did Romans, without microscopes or germ theory, build water systems safer than ours? The answer isn't magic. It's physics, design, and an understanding of water that we've abandoned for cheaper, faster solutions. And cities are paying the price. If you're enjoying these forgotten secrets from ancient Rome, join our growing community by subscribing. Every week, we reveal another piece of lost knowledge that challenges everything modern industry tells you. Subscribe now and become part of the movement to rediscover what really works. Comment below. Do you trust your tap water? Have you ever gotten sick from municipal water? Because what follows will make you question every glass you drink. Let's examine the evidence. In the United States alone, over 15 million people are served by water systems that violated health standards in 2021. Lead contamination affects hundreds of cities, not just Flint, Chicago, Newark, Pittsburgh. Aging pipes leach heavy metals, treatment plants fail. Boil water advisories are issued over 8,000 times annually. That's 22 advisories every single day. Cryptosporidium, a parasite resistant to chlorine, caused the largest waterborne disease outbreak in U.S. history in Milwaukee, 1993. Over 400,000 people got sick. 69 died. The water had been treated. It passed safety tests. But the treatment failed. In 2021, Jackson, Mississippi, lost water pressure entirely. Residents went weeks without safe drinking water, not in a war zone. In America. Globally, the problem is worse. The WHO estimates that 2 billion people drink water contaminated with feces, cholera, typhoid, dysentery. These diseases kill hundreds of thousands yearly. Even in developed nations, pharmaceuticals, microplastics, and industrial chemicals contaminate water supplies. Treatment plants weren't designed to remove these. They pass through. You drink them. Modern water infrastructure is failing, not because we lack technology, but because the system prioritizes cost over safety. Pipes are old. Treatment is rushed. Distribution networks are compromised. We've built fragile systems that break constantly. Romans built for permanence. Their aqueducts didn't fail. For 500 years, Rome was supplied by 11 major aqueducts, delivering over 1 million cubic meters of water daily. That's more water per capita than modern Rome receives. And it was cleaner. No lead poisoning epidemics, no waterborne disease outbreaks. Roman doctors didn't even recognize cholera as a major threat because water quality was so high. How? Roman water engineering started at the source. They didn't take water from polluted rivers or shallow wells. They identified springs in mountains, often 50 to 90 kilometers from the city. These springs were naturally filtered through layers of rock. The water emerged cold, clear, and clean. Romans built intake structures called caput aquae at these springs. These were stone chambers that collected water while excluding debris, animals, and surface contamination. The source was protected, fenced, guarded. No one could pollute it. Modern cities take water from rivers downstream of industrial zones, agricultural runoff, and sewage outlets. Then we try to clean it. Romans ensured it was clean from the start. Transport was gravity-fed. Romans didn't use pumps. They couldn't. So they designed aqueducts with a consistent, gentle slope, typically 1 to 3 meters of drop per kilometer. This gradient was enough to keep water moving, but slow enough to prevent turbulence that would stir up sediment. The channels were lined with waterproof cement called opus signinum, made from lime and crushed terracotta. This lining prevented contamination from surrounding soil. It also inhibited algae growth. The cement was slightly alkaline, which discouraged bacterial colonization. Modern pipes are often metal or plastic. Metals corrode, leaching into water. Plastics degrade, releasing chemicals. Roman cement was inert, stable. It didn't contaminate the water it carried. Aqueducts were enclosed, covered with stone slabs or vaulted roofs. This prevented animals, debris, and rain from entering. Airflow was controlled through small vents. This kept the water oxygenated, which prevented stagnation but excluded contamination. Modern open reservoirs are exposed. Birds defecate in them. Algae blooms, debris falls in. Then we add chemicals to kill what shouldn't be there in the first place. Romans designed contamination out of the system. Every few kilometers, Romans built settling tanks called piscinae lamariae. These were large basins where water slowed down. Sediment settled to the bottom. Debris floated to the top and was skimmed off. Clean water flowed from the middle layer into the next section of aqueduct. This passive filtration required no chemicals, no energy, just physics. Gravity and time did the work. Modern treatment plants use chemical flocculants, rapid mixing, and high-speed filtration. It's effective but complex. And when it fails, contamination spreads instantly. Roman systems failed gracefully. If one settling tank clogged, the others compensated. There was redundancy. Inside Rome, water was distributed through a network of pipes and channels, but not directly to homes. Romans understood that pressure and stagnant water in household pipes could cause problems. Instead, water flowed continuously into public fountains. These fountains ran 24/7. Water never sat still. Constant flow prevented bacterial growth. Citizens collected water fresh from the fountain. They didn't store it in household tanks where it could stagnate. The wealthy had private connections, but even these were designed for flow-through, not storage. Modern buildings have complex plumbing with dead-end pipes where water sits. Legionella bacteria thrive in these stagnant zones, causing Legionnaire's disease. Romans didn't have that problem because their water never stopped moving. Overflow from fountains wasn't wasted. It flushed streets, cleaning away waste. It fed public baths. It powered mills. Finally, it drained into the Cloaca Maxima, Rome's sewer system, which carried waste out of the city. Water flowed in one direction, from clean mountain springs, through the city, into the sewer, and out. No recycling, no reuse. This was inefficient by modern standards, but hygienic. Modern cities recycle wastewater. Treated sewage is returned to rivers, which supply drinking water downstream. We call it safe. But treatment isn't perfect. Pharmaceuticals, hormones, and microplastics aren't fully removed. Romans didn't recycle. They had abundant sources. They could afford to use water once and discard it. Modern water systems are built for cost efficiency, not safety. Pipes are thin. Cheap materials, PVC, galvanized steel, copper, all degrade over time. Lead pipes, banned now, still exist in millions of homes. When water chemistry changes, lead leaches out. That's what happened in Flint. They switched water sources. The new water was more acidic. It corroded old lead pipes. Lead dissolved into drinking water. Children were poisoned. The infrastructure was already failing. The switch just exposed it. Treatment plants are designed for speed. Water is pumped from rivers, mixed with chemicals to kill bacteria and clump particles, filtered rapidly, chlorinated, and sent into the distribution system. This process takes hours. Roman aqueducts took days. Speed saves money, but sacrifices thoroughness. Chlorine kills most bacteria, but not all parasites. Cryptosporidium, for example, is chlorine-resistant. Outbreaks happen when treatment plants don't catch it. Romans didn't rely on chemical treatment, they relied on source protection and physical filtration. It was slower, but more reliable. Distribution networks are vulnerable. Modern cities have thousands of kilometers of underground pipes. Leaks are common. When pressure drops, as in Jackson, contamination can enter through cracks. Dirt, bacteria, sewage. Once inside, it spreads through the entire network. Romans built above-ground aqueducts for most of the route. They were visible, inspectable. Leaks were immediately obvious. Underground sections were short and built with massive stone channels. Cracks were rare. When they occurred, they were repaired quickly. There's also the cost-cutting problem. Maintenance is expensive. Cities defer it. Pipes age. Treatment plants run on outdated equipment. When systems fail, repairs are reactive, not preventive. Flint delayed upgrading infrastructure for decades. When crisis hit, response was slow. Romans maintained aqueducts constantly. Dedicated teams inspected channels, cleared debris, repaired damage. Maintenance was prioritized because water was essential. Modern cities treat water infrastructure as an afterthought until it fails. Then it's an emergency. Romans didn't know about bacteria. Germ theory wasn't discovered until the 1800s, but they understood empirically that certain practices kept water safe. They observed that mountain spring water didn't make people sick. River water did, so they chose springs. They noticed that slow-moving water in open channels stayed clearer than fast-moving water in closed pipes. So they built gentle gradients. They saw that covering channels prevented contamination, so they enclosed aqueducts. They learned through trial, error, and observation. Modern science validates their methods. Slow flow through settling tanks allows particles to settle by gravity. This removes protozoa, bacteria attached to particles, and organic matter. Studies show that sedimentation alone can remove 90% of suspended solids and significant amounts of pathogens. Romans achieved this without chemicals. Continuous flow prevents biofilm formation. Biofilms are layers of bacteria that grow on pipe surfaces. In stagnant water, biofilms thrive. In flowing water, they can't establish. Roman fountains flowed continuously. Modern pipes have stagnant zones. Legionella, which causes pneumonia, grows in biofilms in building plumbing. Romans didn't have building plumbing, they had flowing fountains. Source protection is the most effective safeguard. Modern water treatment is remediation. It tries to clean water that's already contaminated. Romans prevented contamination. Protected sources don't need aggressive treatment. Spring water from pristine mountain areas is naturally low in pathogens. Modern cities take water from sources contaminated by agriculture, industry, and sewage. No amount of treatment can fully restore that water to spring quality. Romans had the advantage of unspoiled sources. But modern cities could protect watersheds better. We choose not to because it's expensive and restricts development. You can't build a Roman aqueduct to your house, but you can learn from the principles. First, know your water source. Is it a protected watershed or a polluted river? Contact your utility. Ask for water quality reports. If your source is compromised, treatment is your only defense. But treatment fails, so consider additional home filtration, reverse osmosis, activated carbon. These remove contaminants that municipal treatment misses. Second, let your water run, especially if you haven't used a tap in hours. Stagnant water in pipes accumulates lead, bacteria, and biofilm. Romans understood flow prevents contamination. Run your tap for 30 seconds before drinking. It wastes water, but reduces risk. Third, maintain your plumbing. Old pipes corrode. Replace them. Especially if your home was built before 1986 when lead pipes were common. Test your water for lead. Kits are inexpensive. If lead is present, remediation is essential. Finally, advocate for infrastructure investment. Roman aqueducts lasted because they were built well and maintained constantly. Modern infrastructure is crumbling because we underfund it. Flint happened because officials chose cost over safety. Demand better. Vote for leaders who prioritize water quality. Support bonds for infrastructure upgrades. Water is life. Treating it as a budget line item is insane. If this resonates, like and subscribe. Romans built water systems that worked for 2,000 years without causing epidemics. Modern cities with advanced technology fail regularly. Flint, Jackson, Milwaukee, thousands of boil water advisories annually. The difference isn't knowledge, it's priorities. Romans built for permanence and safety. We build for cost and speed. They protected sources. We contaminate them, then try to clean up. They designed systems where contamination couldn't enter. We build systems where contamination is inevitable, then rely on chemicals to fix it. Roman aqueducts prove that clean water for millennia is achievable, not through complex technology, through intelligent design and committed maintenance. We've abandoned those principles, and people are getting sick. Subscribe. More lost Roman engineering ahead.